Alright, hello, welcome to this admin tutorial setting up properties in GolliCRAFT to be bought and rented. All the chapters will be in the description, so check those out so you can skip to the specific part of the tutorial that you need to see. But yeah, today we're going to be setting up the properties for sale, for rent, and we'll also be setting up the houses to sell them and apartment buildings with units to rent and the buildings to buy. So I'm going to start each tutorial with the setup and how to, and then I'll be doing multiple demonstrations to drive everything home. So even though the video might seem lengthy, you can always just go into the chapters and skip to whatever part you need to look at. So I did a couple of these yesterday, but I wanted to record the process, that way you could learn how to do it as well. So I've already done this house over here, it's finished, and what we're going to do to get started is we're going to take out our wand. So what you need to do is / wand, and this is the world edit plugin that's doing that for us. So as you can see, we have our wand here. And typically, what you would do is you would select point A and then point B, like that. And then anywhere else you click, left click would be your, point B. However, that creates a cube. And we're not dealing with cubes because most of these properties are on weird types of angles and they have multiple dimensions. They're not just straight four-cornered areas, they've got multiple corners. So what we're going to do instead of that is we're going to be using the polygon selection. So once you have your wand, I want you to do /cell poly, just like that. Alright, and now what this is going to allow us to do is select multiple points instead of point A and point B. We're also going to have to select the lowest point and the highest point as well with this. So now that we have that, let's get started. So most of these properties are going to have a spreadsheet with a code on it. So for example, the code for this one is DDHR1, and that stands for the city, the region within the city, and the type of property it is, / the name of the property, and I guess the number that property is. So for example, we're in the city of Dreamdale, the historic district, and this is a residential building, and this is the first one that I created in Dreamdale. So this would be Dreamdale Historic Residential 2, Dreamdale Historic Residential 3, so on and so forth. So what I did for this was I selected my lowest point first. So with most of these houses, the dig depth is going to be anywhere between 6 to 10 blocks. So I found the level of the property, and I dug down 6 blocks, and I selected that, and I came up here, and basically I just place block. So when I selected this was the break block button, as you've seen, kind of broke it, and then I'm going to place 1, place 2, place 3, place 4, place 5, all the way around the perimeter. I'm just going to collect all the perimeters and then go around here, not the sidewalk, but I'm going to be selecting all the edges around the sidewalk and just every corner. Oops, got stuck in the bamboo there. Every corner, make sure you select those, and then you're going to go all around the property again. And once you reach your starting point, you have to go all the way up, and we'll have a block placed up here, so click on that, and then go all the way down and click your second point just to kind of close the circle there, and then you're going to do /region create. So we're going to get into that right now. We're going to do a few examples. So that's how this goes, that's how it works. And as I said, I'm going to do several examples after each demonstration just to kind of really drive it home for you. So if you've got the point at this point, you can skip to the next chapter. Otherwise, follow me and we'll do some of our demonstrations. Now, if I'm having you set up properties, you'll have clear instructions from me. Either there'll be a sheet for you to follow, or what I've done is I've gone through and I put signs down of what the name of the region is going to be and how much the property is going to go for. So for example, when we create this region, it's going to be called DDHR5, which stands for Dreamdale Historic Residential 5. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. Later on, when we get into the apartment buildings, we're going to be setting properties up for rent, and there may be several units with different rent prices, so you'll see that later on as well. Also, the building, the entire building, is going to be made into its own region. That way, the entire building is going to be made into its own region. That way somebody can purchase the building and own the entire thing. And some buildings may even have shops in them. So that's going to be another thing that we do, is create a shop region. So we're going to have units, shops, and also the entire building. 3 separate regions all in one. And again, I have all the prices and the names of the regions here. So for example, the shop region is going to be called, so the name of this building is Autumn Ridge. So what we've done is we've taken the city name, Dreamdale, and instead of the district, we've kind of skipped over the district and went straight into the type / name of the building. And so we're going to use the first 3 letters, which is AUT, and then C, because this is going to be a commercial region for the shop, and 1. And the reason why we're putting the 1 there is in case there's going to be multiple shops at some point, we're going to keep these just very distinct. And then same with the actual building. It's just going to be Dreamdale Autumn -1. All right, we kind of skipped the historic district part. That's mostly just for houses, because we're not giving houses individual names. So that's just a way to differentiate houses. However, buildings like these typically have names. And then finally, we'll be going into the apartment units. So that's going to be DD and then aught unit and then dash the number of the unit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. And then each unit is going to rent for $200 in this building. Some buildings, it may vary, and you'll see signs on the door saying how much each building costs, but we're going to get to that later. Let's start with the sell. Over here, we're going to create a region to sell, and we're going to start with some houses. So first things first, we're going to take our wand. So let's start from the very beginning, and we're going to do this together. So we just started. We're going to do / wand, just like that. All right. And now once you have your wand, we're also going to do / and sell space poly, just like that. I want you to enter that. And now we can select multiple dimensions instead of just the A and B. We can do 1 through infinity pretty much. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to dig down, because some of these houses have basements, and if they don't, we're going to allow people to build their own basements. So it looks like this house doesn't have a basement. So whoever owns this property, they'll have the ability to dig 6 to 10 blocks down and build their own basement. So let's do that here. So we're going to go down. I like to just kind of start with a flat spot. So we're going to start here. So let's go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to select point 1. Next thing we're going to do is let's find the highest point of this house. All right. So it looks like 94 is going to be the highest point. So I'm going to come here too, and let's go up to 94 or a little bit higher. Doesn't matter. Okay, so 96 for good measure. So what we're going to do here is / up space 1. What that's going to do is that's going to set a block under us, and this is going to be our final point. Okay, so again, select the first point, and now, oops, did it work? Yes, it did. It's already selected, so it didn't show up on the screen, but it is selected. So now we're going to select the second point, third point, fourth point, fifth point, sixth point, seventh point, so on and so forth. And what we're doing is we're just collecting the entire perimeter of this building. So just keep going along the entire perimeter of the building until you've got it all selected. All right, and now we're at the beginning again. So we set to this point, and we're going to go all the way up to our last point here, select that, and all the way down. Select this, all right? So now we've completely gotten the entire perimeter of the property, the height and the depth. What we're going to do next is we're going to create the region. Now remember, the name of the region is going to be DDHR5, which stands for Dreamdale Historic Residential 5, okay? And the cost is going to be 6K. We'll get to that later. So anyway, we're going to create the region first. So do /RG. Notice how I only put 1 slash here. So RG create, and the name of the region again is going to be DD-H-R-5, okay? And this is how we keep things organized in our books and our spreadsheets and everything like that. So now that we've got that done, I want you to press enter, and the new region has been created. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to put the region up for sale. So make sure you have a sign in your inventory, and we're going to find a place to put the sign. Now, do not put the sign on the property, because once people purchase the property, they'll be able to break that sign, and that's what we don't want. So put the sign just outside the property line, preferably on the sidewalk, but just somewhere out of the way. Excuse me, somewhere out of the way, kind of hidden. So I'm going to put it here, okay? It'll be a little bit in the way, but for the most part, it's out of the way, and it's going to be on the sidewalk, so they won't be able to break the sign. So place your sign here, and what we're going to do next is I want you to create your square brackets here, and inside of the square brackets, we're going to type ARM-sell, because this property is going to be for sale. Next, the name of your world, so I'm going to put GolliCRAFT. Once you've done that, the next thing you're going to do is the name of the region. So we named this region DD-H-R-5. And finally, we're going to do how much we want to sell the region for. And remember, there was 6K on that sign, so that indicated that I want this property to be sold for $6,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to type 6000, and then let's back out of this, and it should update. There we go. So it updated. And now when somebody comes through, I don't think I have enough money. I don't have enough money. But anyway, when somebody comes through, they'd be able to rent this. And if someone breaks a block, for example, like this block, the sign is going to stay there. All right? So they'll never be able to break the sign. If the sign was on their property, then they'd be able to break the sign. But that's why we need to keep the signs somewhere just outside the property line, but still clearly, you know, knowing that it belongs to that property. So we just set up one property. That's how you do it. I'm going to set up a couple more with you just because I really want to drive this home. Sometimes it's good to see several examples. So if you've kind of got the point, skip to the next part of the chapter. Otherwise, please stick around and let's set up some more properties. And I'm going to do a special property. So let's go over here. Now, this is a special case property. Some properties will have for sale signs outside of them, and that'll tell you how much the property is supposed to go for. However, I'm probably just going to be putting signs here that'll tell you what I want the name of the region to be. If these signs weren't here, I would say you're going to be working in the historic Dreamdale district, which is this whole area that has the houses. And obviously it would be DD for Dreamdale, -H for the historic district, -R for residential, and you would figure out the numbering system. So you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. But anyway, what I want to show you is something with this here. Let me switch the time back to day just so we can have some light. So in a typical situation, if we were selecting cuboids, we could select point A, and then we could fly all the way over and select point B, which would be here. All right, point B. And that's because this property is a perfect square. It's a perfect rectangle. Whereas most other properties that we've seen, they're just not perfect squares. And that's why we need to be using the poly selection. So we're going to continue to use the poly selection on this. We're not going to use the cuboid selection. And let's get started with this. So what I want to do is we're going to start it over here. And again, if we want to put a basement here or allow people to put a basement, the zoning, which we do have sheets for zoning, the zoning allows at least 6 blocks deep and 32 blocks high. So anyway, we're gonna go 6 to 10 blocks deep. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We just dug down 6 blocks. I'm gonna collect the bottom block here. But before I do that, let's collect the highest point of this house, which technically the tree is the highest point, but I don't expect people to really modify the tree. It's just in case they want to modify the house. So the highest point of the house is 99. We'll give it, oh, there we go. Highest point of the house is about 101. So let's go back over here. And we're going to make our last point higher than 101. So there we go. Okay, so 102. So again, same as last time, I want you to do /up 1. I want you to enter that. Okay, and this is going to be our final point. So now let's select our first point, and then we're going to go around the perimeter. We're going to select our final point, and then for good measure, we're going to select our second point one more time, just to kind of close the gap, and then we'll create the region, and then we'll put it up for sale. So hopefully you're following along. Okay, so select point A with the break block button. You see I just broke the block, and now I'm going to place block for point B, okay? So point B, point C, all the way over here, keeping it off the sidewalk, only on the property line. And I want to make sure I line up the property with this here. So property line is going to be, I'm just getting stuck. Okay, so this is the 4th point, and then we're going to go all the way over to the 5th point, which will be all the way over here, as a square, so it's easier to work with. The 6th point is going to go all the way here, not on the sidewalk, but just before the sidewalk. And then this is kind of our second last point, and then the last point is going to be up here. That's going to collect our height. And then let's go down, just for good measure, let's double click the second point. All right, and now that we've closed off the perimeter, we're going to create the region. So same as last time, /RG create, like that, and the name of the region. Do you remember what the name of this region was? Let's see, this region is dd-h-r.r-8. So let's create that. So /RG create, and now we're going to do Dreamdale Historic District Residential 8. All right, and we're going to create that. And there you go. So just looking at this probably doesn't make sense. You just see random letters and numbers, but on our spreadsheet, this is how we've organized all the districts in the area. It just makes things easy for us. Anyway, now that we've done that, we're going to put the property up for sale. So as you can see, this property is supposed to be sold for $30,000, and we're not going to put the sign on the actual property because once someone purchases it, they'll be able to destroy the sign and they won't be able to sell it. So we're going to put it just off the property, just on the sidewalk. So let's put it over here, I guess. All right, and same as last time, I forgot the name of this. So this is, okay, 8. All right, so what I'm going to do here is square brackets. Oops, what's happening? Okay, so square brackets, and inside of them, I'm going to put arm-cell. Next is going to be the name of your world. So GolliCRAFT for us. And then the name of the property, which is Dreamdale-Historic District-Residential-8. Okay, we're only using the abbreviations for this. And finally, how much will this property cost? This property will cost $30,000, and that is because this property has been featured in many videos. So, I don't know. Anyway, there we go. So this property's been taken care of. Next, yeah, I wanted to show you what it looks like to buy and sell really quickly. So I'm just going to give myself a little bit of money. So let's do money, give. I'm going to give it to me, and I'm going to give myself 6K. All right, so the example I just want to show you here is you can click on the sign. Oh, do I not have enough money? Oh, it's 30K. All right, that's crazy. All right, so click on the sign, and I don't know why it teleported me up there. That was crazy. Whoever purchases this property is going to have to parkour down every single time we buy it, but it's not a big deal. Anyway, I purchased the property, and let's say I don't want the property anymore. You can see it says sold to Vinny and Tag. So now if any stranger comes on my property, they won't be able to break blocks, but I'll be able to break blocks on my property. Anyway, if I want to sell my house because I don't want it anymore, I'll just crouch like that, click on the sign. And are you sure you want to sell your house? Yes? No. Yes, I am sure I want to sell my house. And I'm going to modify all the region configuration so it gives you 50% of your money back, but that's not for you to worry about. That's for me to worry about. So anyway, now we've set up this region. So I'm going to do one more example. We're going to set up one more house, and then we're going to move on to apartment buildings after. So again, if you kind of got the gist of everything, go into the chapters, skip to the apartment section. Otherwise, stick around, and we're going to do one more house together. And I just want to kind of finish this area. So it looks like this house is not for sale. So let's do this house. So this house is going to be region number 4, and it's going to be sold for 6K. So let's do the same thing we did before. Our 6 blocks deep. 6, and then we're going to find the tallest point of this house, and then we're going to go maybe a couple blocks above that. So the tallest point is 102. So let's come here and let's go all the way up. 102. Okay, and now we're going to again slash up 1. That's going to place the block right below us, so we can select that later on. And you should already have your wand in your hand. Most of the time they're axes. Mine's a hoe, but it doesn't matter as long as you have a wand. And we're going to make sure that we have our poly selection on as well. So let's just start from the very beginning. Okay, so we're going to do slash wand. We have our wand. Oh, it's a double slash. We're using world edit. So slash wand. And then we're also going to do slash cell poly. Okay, select polygon. Now that we've done that, go into your lowest point, break block. That's for point A. Go into your second point, and now we're going to be going around the perimeter. So this was point 2. 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, over and over and over again until we've collected every corner of the property around the entire perimeter. And just be careful when the perimeters start to clash with each other too. Okay, so it looks like the perimeters are about to clash, and so what we need to do is figure out where does one property start and the other property end. So for me, I kind of put this pillar here for my own reference. So the property lines are going to be split right along this point here. This is where the property line is going to end. So let's continue selecting all of our points. All right, and now over here, we're going to go all the way over here. And what's going to happen is this line is now being shared by 2 properties. So that means both owners, both residences are going to be able to modify this center area. Now, it's going to be up to the city to decide who actually owns this center block, which it is this house that owns the property line. However, there's just a little bit of overlap, so they both will be able to modify those blocks, even though they shouldn't. It's not a big deal though. Anyway, let's continue getting all of these points. Again, making sure to avoid the sidewalks. All right, and then over here, and now let's go all the way up. Place block there, go all the way down to our second point. And that's going to be our very final point. And now that we've closed the perimeter, we're going to create the region. So let's remember this is called region 4. So again, slash RG create. And this is going to be Dreamdale Historic District Residential 4. Okay, and if this was a shop, this would be commercial 4. Or if this was an office building, this would be either O or OC for office commercial, all right? But right now we're dealing with residential, so it's going to be R, and this is the 4th residential property selected, so this is going to be 4. So let's create this region. All right, so now the region's been created, and again, let's get a sign in our inventory because this property is going to go for 6K. All right, you can see that at the bottom there. I want it to be sold for 6K. So let's find a spot to put this sign, you know, somewhere out of the way. You wouldn't want to put the sign right there, like in front of the entire property. That looks bad. But if we can kind of hide it, but still make it obvious that this sign belongs to this property, it shouldn't be a big deal. So let's put it right here. It's kind of out of the way, a little bit hidden, but still clearly it belongs to this property. So same as before, I want your square brackets, and then we're going to do arm-cell, all right? And name of the world, and the name of the property, DD-H-R-4, Dreamdale Historic District Residential 4. All right, and then what we're going to do is, how much it's going to cost? It's going to cost $6,000. What would happen if we put 3 here? Well, what would happen is it would be selling, so if we had put DD-H-R-3, the same thing would have happened, except it would purchase the third property for us. So if we clicked on this sign, it would make us the owner of this property because this property is named DD-H-R-3. So that's why you need to make sure that the name of your property matches where your sign is. You know, if you wanted to build a little real estate office where people could have a centralized location to buy properties, you can just put all these for sale signs in one location and then they would own that location. But anyway, that's not something that we do. So we've just created the for sale sign and this property has now been made. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of cleanup here. I no longer need these references anymore. And I'm gonna get rid of I'm gonna fill in my holes that I made actually. I want people to buy the property with holes in the ground, so let's clean this up. And let's get rid of this block in the sky. And this is from something I was doing yesterday, so let's get rid of this. Let's make sure there's no holes over here where we were working earlier. Get rid of the hole. Okay. So now we've set up a few different residential properties of different shapes, different sizes. It's all the same. It's all the same method. And again, I should have instructions either told to you or laid out in front of the property so you'll know exactly what to do. Next, what we're going to do are some apartments, and I kind of have these two apartments here ready to go and that big apartment over there, but we're going to start with these ones. So what I want to do here is begin with the units. Now, what I'm trying to figure out is how to make it so if somebody purchases the entire building, all the rent will go to the owner of that building. I'm not sure how to do that yet. I'm going to figure it out. But as of right now, whoever owns the building, we're just going to have some kind of command where if you own the building, you'll make a little bit of passive income. But it would be cool if you could make the legit income of the people living there, and then that would make people, you know, promote their apartment and try to get more people in. But anyway, let's get on with the show. So this building is called Aspen Apartments, and so instead of it being Dreamdale Historic District Residential, we're now going to be doing Dreamdale. We skipped the Historic District part. We're going straight into the type, which is residential or /name, and we've chosen to use the name of apartments. So this is going to be its unique identifier ASP-1. And the reason why there's a -1 there is just because if someone creates an asparagus apartment, their building would also be ASP in Dreamdale. So they would be ASP too. Anyway, that's just a little unique identifier here. And yeah, so let's create the building space first. Same as last time, we're going to give them access to a basement. This is going to be, I think, 10 blocks deep. So let me find out where I want my first position to go. And I think the first position will go here. And then I want my last position to go over here. Now, typically apartment buildings tend to be on square ground. And so you can use your cubic selection, cuboid. And that's what I'm going to do just because I don't want to select the entire perimeter and then, you know, all the way up. So let's do that really quickly. So what we're going to do is we're going to do //cell and cuboid like that. All right. And so what this is going to do is instead of poly where we can select several points, this one we can only select 2 points and it has to be made into a cube. So I'll demonstrate that right now. So let's go 10 blocks deep. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the bottom block here will be 10. So the 10th block can be modified by people. So point 1 has been selected. I just punched the block to select it. And now we're going to go all the way up to the opposite corner. Oops, we have some... Maybe I should move it over. I'm going to move it over a little bit. So what I'm going to do is over here. This is going to be point A. So break block for point A. And go all the way up. And point B... Just want to make sure... Okay, point B is going to be over here. All right, so now we're going to place block over here. As you can see, the second position has been set. And if we place block anywhere else, it's always the second position. It's not doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can't click unlimited times because we're making a cube, not a polygon. So select your last corner. All right, it's been selected. And now we're going to create this into a region. And it's that simple. So just to reiterate, break your first point and place block on your second point, and that's going to select the entire cube area. And one more time, if this property was not a perfect square, then we would have to use the polygon, but because it is, this was easier. So we're going to create the region now, and this region is going to be called DD-ASP-1, and that stands for Dreamdale Aspen Apartments 1. All right, so let's do that together. So /RG create, and again, it's DD for Dreamdale, ASP for Aspen Apartments, -1 because if we have duplicates, we just want to keep things simple here. So let's enter this. All right, and this region has been created and it's named DDASP1. Now, what if somebody wants to purchase this apartment? Typically, I like to have an office area where we put the sign down, but again, someone can destroy that and modify it, which I don't want that to happen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little sign right here, and this is where it's gonna be. That way, if someone purchases the property, they won't be able to break it because it'll be just outside the property line. So remember, the name of the apartment is DDASP1. So we're gonna put this apartment up for sale. So again, we're gonna sell the entire building. So arm-sell, name of the world. This is just like what we did with the houses here. And then we're going to do the name of the region, which is Dreamdale Aspen Apartments 1. And the price is going to be $15,000. All right. 1, 2, 3. So now this property can be purchased for $15,000. And now we're going to set up the apartments. The apartment section. So it looks like each rent for each unit is going to be $200, and so the units are going to be called DD ASP unit and then the number right after. So let's give this a shot. So this unit is going to be $200. So we need to create the region first for this unit, and I would like it to be daytime just so I can see a little bit better. Okay. So essentially, most of the time, these walls will be built up, but I just did this to separate the two units. So this is a separate unit, this is a separate unit. So we're gonna have to select a polygon for this one. Typically, we could just do point A and point B, collecting the floor and the ceiling. Or if we don't want people to modify the floor, we'll put a block here, there. That way they can't break the floor, and we'll put a block here. That way they can't break the ceiling, but they can break every block in between. The issue is that this wall here, this unit is not a perfect square, so we have to, we have to do the poly selection. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna allow people to modify the floors if they come in, even though I really would prefer them not to. I'm gonna let them do it. So, because it's not a perfect square, what we have to do is this, slash, cell, oops, 2 slashes because we're using world edit for this, cell poly, select polygon, that's what that stands for, okay? So now what we're gonna do is select point A, all right, point B, point C over here, point D, point E, point F, and I guess we can do point G. This is our starting point. Let's get the top part. H, I, J, K, L, M, N. All right, so now everything has been selected. I don't think we even had to go all the way around. I think we could have just selected the entire perimeter of the floor and then one block up, but it's fine, it doesn't matter. So now we're gonna make this a region, and remember the name of this region is gonna be Dreamdale Asp Unit 1. Okay, so the region that we just created, we're gonna do slash, no, just 1 slash, RG create, and it's going to be, the name of the region is gonna be Dreamdale Aspen Apartments Unit, and then we're gonna do -1, okay? And the region has just been created. Now we have to put this unit up for rent. The cost is going to be $200. The oops, what's that? Extend time is going to be 5 days. I think it's actually 30 days. And then the extend time will be 5 days. I don't know why they had it kind of backwards. Tell me that the region does not exist. So let's do a quick test here. So slash RG info. We're going to do Dreamdale dash Asp unit 1. Let's see, no region can be found. So let's see what we call this place. Dreamdale ASP unit 1. I don't understand. DD ASP unit 1. Said a new region has been made named DD ASP unit 1. So why is it? Let's do info on this. Okay, so yeah, it does exist. I'm just wondering why. What's the difference between this? Oh, APS. That was the issue. It's ASP. I see what I did wrong here. So we made a mistake. So what happens when we make a mistake? We're gonna have to delete the region and start over. So I guess this is a good learning demonstration. So I went through all this work to claim my barriers, all my points, and I named it incorrectly. So how do you rename a region? I can do it through the console, but I would rather you just kind of remake it. So what we're gonna do here, so instead of info, this region cannot be found. Okay, so this region is incorrect. It should be ASP, not APS. So I need to rename it, which I could do through the console, but instead we're just going to delete this region and do it again. So what I'm going to do is RG delete. You can remove too. Okay, so successfully removed this apartment, and all of our selections are gone too. The entire region has been removed. So what we need to do is select our points again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just before we get, I'm going to do just before, so 7. This is going to be 8, and then I'm going to close it again on our first point, 9. Okay, right there, our second point is going to be 9. So I closed off the polygon. Now we should be able to do the create. So let's start from scratch. So /RG create, and we're going to call this Dreamdale Aspen Apartments, and this is going to be unit Aspen Apartments unit -1. All right, there we go. A new region's been created. So now that we've done that, we're going to create our rent sign. And same as before, so it's going to be arm-rent, just like so. Name of your world. And then name of your area, so Dreamdale Aspen Apartments unit -1. So ASP unit 1, and it's going to be sold, or it's going to be rented out for $200, oops, no space, $200 every 30 days, D for days, and with a max extend time of 5 days. So the last 5 days of your rent, you can kind of renew your rent like that instead of waiting for your rent to totally expire. So let's back out of this. All right, so it looks like it works. So let's test it out. Let me click on it. All right, so it's being rented to me for 30 days. And so now you can see there's a little timer here. I have 29 days remaining, 23 hours and 59 minutes left on this clock. And once we reach, 25, 26, 27, or I guess 5, 4, 3 days left on my rent, I'll be able to click on the sign again and I can renew my rent before it even expires. So that might have been a little bit confusing. We're going to go through this again. All right, we're going to do this one more time. So let's say I don't want this apartment anymore. I'm going to crouch like this, and then I'm going to click on the sign one more time. There we go. I don't know what that was all about. But anyway, yes, I want to sell this back. And there you go. All right, so that's for rent. So we're going to do one more just because that was a lot. That was a learning moment. So let me set the day back. Okay, so what I want to do is just kind of finish these walls here, or get them more built up just so there's less confusion. So we just did unit 1, now we're going to do unit 2, unit 3, unit 4, so on and so forth. So let's do that together. This is going to be my point A, B, C, D, okay. Here we go, all the way over here, second last block, all the way up to the corner, all the way down to here. And now let's create the region, so /RG create, and again, the city is Dreamdale. We're going to skip the district/region, so we're not going to put H, but we are going to put the name /type of property is, and the name is Aspen Apartments, so first 3 letters, ASP. And we're doing the units, so no dash, just unit right after. And then we're going to do -2, so this is now unit 2, All right, it's being created. And now let's go over here and we're going to create our sell sign again, or our rent sign. So arm-rent. All right, let's go down here, name of the world. I want to do a test. The name of the world should be GolliCRAFT. Let's see if it's case sensitive or not. I think it is, but we're about to see. Okay, so the name of the world is GolliCRAFT, and the name of the unit is ASP. No, it's Dreamdale Aspen Apartments Unit 2, and we're gonna sell this for $200. Oops. Colon. 30 days you can rent it out, and the last 5 days you can renew your rent before it fully expires and someone else steals it from you. Okay, so let's see if this works. So ASP unit Dreamdale. Oh, it's because I didn't put the dash. My mistake. We can just easily edit the sign here. We'll put a dash. All right, there we go. Region has been created. Well, we technically didn't mess up. So what has to happen is the door of this apartment has to be inside the apartment. Otherwise, they won't be able to open it. Because we didn't select these walls as part of their thing. So this whole example should probably be redone. But let's say, yeah, we don't want them to modify the walls, so that's why the doors have to go in here. So technically I did do everything right. So anyway, what we're gonna do here is something super simple. So I wanna do my cuboid selection again. So / cell cuboid. And it's gonna be so simple. So what we're gonna do is place a block here, and I guess place a block here. So I'm gonna select point A, 1, and point B, 2, and it's that simple. Anywhere else I click is point B, because we're doing cuboid. All right, but I want this to be my point B, my second position. So what we're gonna do is, that means anything within these 2 blocks can be broken. However, the floor cannot be broken because I didn't select the floor. I selected 1 block above the floor. The ceiling cannot be broken because I didn't select the ceiling. I selected 1 block below the ceiling. The wall cannot be broken because I didn't select the wall. I selected 1 block after the wall. Same with this wall, okay? Same with this wall, and same with this wall. Only everything in between the walls can be modified when somebody purchases the apartment. But anyway, we selected point A, and we selected point B. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create the region. So same thing as before, /rg create, and the name of our building is going to be Dreamdale Asp unit, and then we're going to do -3, and it was that simple. It was that simple. So just going to break these blocks here. Let's go out and let's put this up for rent, same as before, arm-rent, and GolliCRAFT. I guess it doesn't matter. It's not case sensitive, so we can put whatever we want here. And then the name of the apartment, which is Dreamdale Aspen Apartments Unit -3, and it's going to be sold for, or rented out for, $200, every 30 days, and you can extend your rent during the last 5 days. All right, and that worked out perfectly. And that's that. So I'm going to continue to do the rest of these off camera. Let's move on to the next apartment. It's going to be a huge reiteration of this with one slightly different step, and it's not even going to be that different. So I'm stuck. Okay. So most of this is done. Let's do this apartment next. Again, a bunch of reiterations are going to be happening here. I'm just going to be constantly reiterating myself over and over again to drive this point home. Sometimes you just have to watch things happen exactly the same, but in different scenarios to kind of really understand it. So this building is called Autumn Ridge Apartments. So the abbreviation we're going to be using is AUT. And for the shop, it's going to be a commercial residence. And yeah, it's going to be 1. So let's set up the building first. So the building's name, RG building, under that is DD-AUT-1. So let's select the first point of our building, which is going to be right here. And as you can see, there might be a little bit of overlap between the two, but that's fine. And we're going to go down 9 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the last block here, 10, I'm going to select point A. I'm going to go all the way up to the top of this building, all the way to the side of the building. And it looks like the highest point is going to be right here. Yeah, does that look good? We're going to have to go out 1 more block, it looks like. Okay, go out 1 more block. And now we'll select the second position. That simple. And now we're going to create the region. And we know that the region's name is DDAUT1. My alarm's about to go off here, but /RG_create. Okay, RG_create, and the name of the building is going to be DD-AUT for autumn. And number 1, in case someone else's building happens to have the same first 3 letters within the city of Dreamdale. So let's create this. All right, the region has been created, and now let's put it up for sale. So let's get our sign out. And where will we sell this at? I think we're going to sell it right here. Right here. So same thing as before, this apartment building, the entire building can be owned by one person. So we're going to do sorry, not slash. We're going to do arm-sell. And we're selling the Dreamdale Autumn Apartments 1. Oops. The world is GolliCRAFT. The name of the building is on the 3rd line. And the 4th line is going to be the price. And the price of this is going to be $15,000. Just like that. Okay, let's enter that. And the region has been created. It's now for sale. So that part is taken care of. The next thing we're going to do is set up the shop. Okay. And this is what makes things a little bit different from what we did before. So this shop can be sold for $400. Okay. I should have put how long I wanted it, whether I wanted it to be 7 days or 30 days, but right now the default is just going to be 30 days. I want everything to be rented out on 30-day periods, okay? So let's create our region here, and again, we can't use the cuboid, because if we try to use cuboid, we just lost all this space, and we lost all this space. There's no way you can claim it all with cuboid. The only way you could claim it is if you go outside the property, and kind of click over here, but now they'll own all of this, which we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do /sell poly. So let's do that together. /sell poly. Okay, select polygon. Enter that. And now we're going to choose our first region and our last region. So I do want people to modify the carpeting. Maybe they don't want red, and maybe they do want to change their ceiling out. I'm going to allow them to do that. So select the carpet. We should select the wall too, in case they want to change that. So what I'm going to do, this is going to be point A right here, and this will allow them to also select this wall. So we're going to put a block here. Okay, so what we're going to do is select our first point here, which is going to be this block, because this will give them access to the door. They'll be able to modify this little wall here if they wanted to, and they'll be able to open and close the door when they own the property. So when the business is open, they can leave the door open. When the business is closed, they can close the door. So let's select point 1, point 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we're just tracing the entire perimeter. I don't want them to modify the pillar, so I'm not going to select the pillar, go around it. Okay, 13, 14, 15, 16. And now we have to get the highest point, which this is going to be the highest point. I don't want them to modify the ceiling, so I'm just going to select the block right below the ceiling, and that should be good. All right, and I just selected this block again, just to kind of close the perimeter. Same thing we did before. We got to create a region, and before we create the region, what's the name of this region? We can double check to find out. The name of the region is DD-AUT1. Okay, so /RG_create space create, and it's going to be Dreamdale Autumn, okay, apartments, and then it's going to be a commercial area, and it's going to be number 1, just like that. Let's create this. Okay, a new region has been made, and now we're going to, should we put this region up for sale or up for rent? I think we're going to put this up for rent. So what we're going to do is click on it. Actually, no, we're just going to, where do I want this to go? I think I want it to go here on this wall. It's kind of in the corner, out of the way, so people can see it, but you don't notice it too much. So again, we're going to put this building up, or this little spot up for rent. So it's going to be arm-rent, and the name of the world is GolliCRAFT. The name of the region is Dreamdale Autumn Apartments Commercial 1, and it's going to be rented out for $400 a month, and it's going to be, yeah, every 30 days, so D for days. And whoever owns the shop can renew within the last 5 days of their lease. All right, like that, and that's it. Actually, we don't need that. Okay, so let's see if this worked, and it did. So that's perfect. So now somebody can rent this region out. Let's do a little bit of cleanup. And perfect. So now the shop is up for sale. Next, we can go into the units. And again, this is all reiteration from what we did in the last apartment. We're simply going to be doing our polygon selection. We're going to select the perimeter of this, highest point, and then we're going to create a region and put it up for rent. So let's get into that in a little bit.